Welcome back, everybody. It's time for round two of our Legacy Fight Night. I am Lundiger, and I'm joined here by Beyond Sadistic. Players are getting ready, and oh boy, we've got a beautiful matchup. You love to see it. What do we got here?
We have the brightness of all bright, the deathiest of all death, a Death and Taxes mirror. Now, I know what you're saying. Death and Taxes is dead. How could two players be playing the same deck? Nah, this is a Death and Taxes mirror. I think we're in for an interesting game. We've got Pope Hoffy versus Niz Coolman, and they have spoken many times about these decks, and I think their decks are very, very similar. And as excited as we are about the Death and Taxes mirror, Dr. Leo comes in with the sub. Thank you very much, Dr. Leo.
Hey, welcome to the subs.
So, Digger, being a Infect player, this has got to scare the crap out of you.
Oh yeah, I'm a little bit of a variety player as well, so I have dabbled in Death and Taxes, but yeah, looking at these lists and then my little tiny infect creatures,
there's
kind of scares you.
Yeah, 8 copies of Swords to Plowshares between these two. That's more more than your little Glistener Elf's going to happen. And I joke, I play Infect also, so
Yeah,
it hurts me just as well. But yeah, being a Death and Taxes mirror, these guys both bringing to the table the brand new, hot off the presses Skyclave Apparition. Both of them are running Skyclave Apparitions. Niz Coolman is running a total of 3, and Pope Hoffy is running a total of 3. However, Hoffy has his 3 in the main deck, and Niz Coolman's running just 2 in the main deck. Niz Coolman with a little bit more land destruction in his board. This should be a pretty awesome matchup. Hoffy is also heavy one land, and he is running an extra Horizon Canopy or 2 Horizon Canopies, whereas Niz Coolman's running 0. So both lean, both mean. Hoffy with a little bit more card draw, a little bit more removal. Sanctum Prelate in the main deck, which is one of my favorite Magic cards ever printed. Niz Coolman's running Spirit of the Labyrinth. Hoffy is also running Spirit of the Labyrinth, so this should be pretty good. I'm pretty excited about this.
And I'm definitely excited about both players keeping 7. It's a far cry from the first matchup where unfortunately we saw that first game was just everybody going to 5. So good to see the full power. They thought they were good hands. We're going to keep 7 and we're just going to slam against each other.
Yeah,
so
this is going to be one match where Thalia isn't going to do crap.
Yep. She's going to first strike and muck up combat a little bit, but other than that, yeah, not much going on.
Yeah. Hoffy's going to lead off with a mom. Niz Coolman's going to lead with the planes and pass. Some pretty exciting action here for turn 1. Here comes a Thalia. What do you think? No, Stoneforge. That is exactly what you want to have first.
Quick start with the Stoneforge on the play. Instant grab has got to be Jite, right? When you see the opponent leading with the planes and the mom.
Absolutely.
Plink and dink all those little creatures. Yep, there it comes.
Yeah. The only downside, he does not have a way to protect his Stoneforge Mystic. He's probably going to lose it here. Another planes.
2 can play at that game. Here we go.
Yep. Here comes another Stoneforge. So this is going to be the Jite mirror, the Stoneforge mirror. Hoffy not having any removal though, which is kind of interesting. But having a mom of his own, I think Niz Coolman's probably in a little bit worse shape than what Hoffy is right now.
Yeah, definitely. What I'm seeing here with the Mother of Runes is doesn't protection prevent damage as well? So would the Jite from Niz Coolman not get any counters?
Yeah, that would be no combat damage.
Ooh. He's got 3 mana being tapped here.
And then it's going to be a Recruiter, which you think he's going to go get a Skyclave Apparition?
Everybody loves it so much. Yeah, it's got to be the first thing you see every game. Tutor for it every game. Everybody
Absolutely. I would too. Hey, this is your removal. And I don't think I would use it on my that Stoneforge Mystic. I would absolutely use it on the Jite when it comes into play.
Yep.
Mom cannot protect your Jite. Hoffy's going to play another basic, which looks like it's upside down. Am I wrong there? Is that plane's upside down? Or is that a Caracas?
Oh, yeah, that's Caracas. He's got his two gurus out there and a Caracas.
I was going to say, it looks like an upside down planes. Another mom. Wow. Moms for days.
There's going to be a lot of little tiny micro positioning. They both got the GTAs in their hand. Both got Stone Forges ready to go.
Yeah.
Just who pulls the trigger? Is it the right decision to pull the trigger?
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
And both with 3 mana, absolutely not. If you know for a fact that he's got an apparition in his hand. Tim T1000 Nexus, thank you so much. Timmy T1000 Nexus, thank you so much for the follow, bud. Ms. Coolman's going to play another port. Now, if he had a little bit better positioning board-wise, he could start porting Hoffy and be able to get in. But having 2 moms, that's pretty much going to hold him at bay. So at end step, he is going to activate and put Jitte down. Not having a... is he going to do the same thing in response?
See if we're going to upkeep for a port here or in response, throwing down something. Looks like a double
he's porting him. Okay. I was going to say, I don't think I would put my Jitte into play in response. There's a wasteland. Right. Or that's a port, sorry.
So 2 can play at that mana denial game.
Yep. I think at this point, I would put Jitte. I think I would have put Jitte on a creature and attacked. Just to get counters. Granted, you're going to lose your Jitte, but I don't know if that's... Yeah, it's probably not. You're going to lose your Jitte anyway.
Right. Yeah, with the counters, at least you can throw stuff down on the opponent's creatures.
Right.
Or any of the modes irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would have at least tried to get something out of it. And this is probably going to take the Skyclave Apparition, take the Jitte. Hoffy could have removal also, though. And if he does have removal, that will give him a spirit in return. A 2/2.
Oh, gotcha. It looks like Hoffy left his mana open trying to port, and we'd already moved past the upkeep, and we just missed that out. So we're going to slow it down in the upkeeps and the draw steps in the future turns.
Especially in a match like this when both players are on the mana denial plan. You really, those are those micro decisions. That's the positioning. You really need to be able to accurately fire off a port or activate a port when you need to. So he's going to Flicker Wisp. And what is he going to target? His Apparition, so he gets a Spirit.
Yeah, so he'll get a 1/1 Spirit off the... No, 2/2 Spirit off the Jitte.
Yep, and then when that re-enters the battlefield, he can target one of his creatures, however, Mom's just going to protect it.
Yep, that's a decent call.
There's a 3rd Mom.
Yeah, 3rd Mom, so you've got 2 and just they can protect each other, they can protect whatever the target ends up being with Skyclave.
Yeah, absolutely. So Apparition's going to re-enter the battlefield. And what's he going to target?
Looks like, yeah, Apparition on Hoffy's Stoneforge, and then Hoffy's just going to protect the Stoneforge.
Yeah. Which, having that many swords, having that many Mother of Runes in play, it's going to be really difficult for Nizkulman to really get that done.
Yeah, definitely. So he targets the. He actually targeted the Mother of Runes that is not summoning sick, and then just gave Pro White in response. So whatever the target ended up being, it wouldn't have gotten through.
No.
But yeah.
And here comes another recruiter, which is going to get a mom of his own, and he will be able to play it also. However, Flicker Wisp is going to start doing some heavy lifting here.
Yes, because surprisingly, it looked like they might not have been able to fit it on the text box, but the core spirit, Skyclave Apparition, unfortunately does not have flying.
No. It's another one of those cards in that weird gray area that looks like it could fly, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Although it's probably good it doesn't. I mean, if it did, it would make it even stronger of a card. Having its own built-in evasion is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I wonder if they got designed for you got a spirit, you're drawing a spirit for a new Zendikar card, and they drew it, and then they went, okay, we need you to revise the art to have it standing close to the ground because it does not have flying.
Right. Yeah, so Hoffy able to swing in for 5 here. Oh, interesting.
Comes in with a sword. Yeah, who needs the GT when you just come in with a sword, throw it on a Flicker Wisp?
Yeah. Plus, you've got your spirit that you can attack with also.
Coming in hot.
Yep. Fire and Ice is gonna do its own damage here.
Taking 5. We got the sword trigger.
Yep.
Yep. Take out the mob before she can protect anything. Draw the card.
Absolutely. This is pretty much. I think this is going to be really backbreaking here, because of the fact he's got 3 moms up to protect. He's not going to be able to get in a whole lot combat damage wise, and it's that Flicker Wisp is going to deal a lot of damage very quickly.
Yep, that's just so much protection to stop any of the removal coming in, any of the damage coming in, any of the blockers even. If Niz finds another flying blocker to hopefully take care of the Flicker Wisp, just nothing is going to get there.
Right.
That's a recruiter.
Third recruiter. What do you go get here then?
I feel like, is it another Skyclave to try and do something?
I would.
Ooh, yeah. Charming Prince to flicker your own anythings. You could get another search. You could get another Skyclave coming in. Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that you can play your Charming Prince, blink that, take out the Sword of Fire and Ice.
Yeah.
That's going to give him a 5 or a 3/3 spirit though. Yeah. Target. I love Death and Taxes Mirrors. Holy crap.
So great. It's great that both players just randomly ended up drawing 3 of a different card, and it looks like Mother of Runes right now is just running away with it compared to Recruiter.
Right.
So end step, we've got that apparition coming back in.
Yep.
Looks like we can go with the sword. Get rid of that guy.
Yep. And he's going to get another spirit. Right. Should have another spirit.
The second Skyclave didn't resolve and exile a card because the mom protected itself.
No, but he should have off of taking Sword of Fire and Ice.
Only when Skyclave leaves, right?
And that's when
it leaves the battlefield, the exile zone, or creates a So you can flicker it and they get nothing, which is hilarious.
Yeah, that actually does work really well. I didn't even think about that one. It doesn't have to die.
So Hoffy will just play Wasteland for turn, fire it off on the port. That's the only thing he really cares about, the Krakus. There's no legendaries that are very impactful right now.
Right. Yeah, that's just it. There's really in this instance, it doesn't do you any good. I mean, Athalia really isn't going to do anything. Yeah. We haven't seen one non-creature spell be cast.
Yeah, the only thing we have is all the equipments, the vials, and the swords. But at this point, we're moving past the point where the mana can get constrained in that regard because they all cost 1, and then you don't really want to cast the equipment at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that Flicker Wisp is still getting it in the air. The illusion, the spirit, nothing's got flying except for that Flicker Wisp. So that's a 5-turn clock. Yeah, I'm good at math.
Does the spirit that it makes get flying?
Nope, just a plain old illusion.
Oh, it's an illusion, isn't it? It's not a spirit.
Yeah. So here comes that folly we were talking about. Hoffy doesn't care about the Crocus, doesn't care about the extra bonus tax effects.
Well, if anything, him bouncing your Caracas is taxing himself.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
she's kind of a pointless card right now, honestly. I mean, they shouldn't say pointless. She's fantastic at what she does, don't get me wrong, but in this situation that we're in right now, you Caracasing Thalia, I don't think is really going to gain you what you want to, considering you've got Recruiter that could block her if need be, just to get in the way.
Definitely.
Although giving Thalia pro white and attacking with your Flicker Wisp and Thalia, just having another body, but and there's a Thalia of Niskelman's own.
Oh, this is great. Just how it's almost the exact same, except it's just so different. The different draws it gives you and the slight differences in the lists.
Right. Niz Coleman really needs a Flicker Wisp. Actually, that's the only thing in his deck that is flying. However, that's really not going to save him because Mom's just probably going to give Flicker Wisp pro white anyway. It's kind of having that Flicker Wisp is really, I mean, that's a really powerful position right now.
Yeah, definitely. And even on that first cast, you have just so many different things you can do with it. You can float up an extra land just so you can have more interaction on their turn. You can reset something of theirs. You can reset something of yours.
Right.
Very, very valuable card, especially with 3 Mother of Runes to protect it.
Right. Hoffy's probably going to go get his Batterskull, I would assume.
Yep.
And Niz has 0 more Skyclave Apparitions in his main deck. So that's not going to... This is the end, pretty much.
Yep, that Batterskull can come down off of the second non-summoning sick Stoneforge Mystic, throw it onto a Flicker Wisp, and come in for 7 in the air. Ooh. So it looks like we're working on the math here. Yeah, coming for 3, we've got 9 left, and then Batterskull comes in at a different time. Next turn, swing in with another protected blocker, or protected attacker, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the Jitte's just not going to do anything at this point, though. Granted, it's good to have it in the battlefield, but I wonder how many cards does Niz have in hand?
Well, Hoffy's got 3. We can see those in the corner of his playmat, so that's nice.
Yeah. Although, with the way Niz Coleman's playmat is, it might be a little difficult for him to keep the cards in his playmat, but looks like he's going to tap 2 white and a colorless. And there's a Flicker Wisp of his own.
Flicker Wisp coming in, but is it too little, too late?
Well, I think so. Just because of the simple fact that Batterskull is going to come onto the battlefield right after this.
Yep.
He's going to flicker his own Recruiter. Yeah, Batterskull's going to come in. He's going to equip Batterskull to Flicker Wisp. Mom is going to get pro white. Flicker Wisp is going to get in. It's going to put Niz down to 1. Hoffy up to 28. Or 27, sorry. Batterskull's 4/4, not 5/5. So it'll put Niz to 2.
Yeah, there's just so many options for Hoffy at this point because you can even force through a Thalia with a second Mother activation and still have one more for protection.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, this is pretty much game over. I don't think there's really anything he can do.
Yeah, the recruiter, last minute search, look for a Mother. You can cast it, but
it's not gonna. She's not gonna be able to. Yeah, she's gonna be sitting on the sidelines for this next combat step. She's still at the grocery store. She's picking up your Hot Pockets and Cheetos. She ain't gonna be here to save you. And I actually think I would use that illusion rather than Thalia because Caracas can't get rid of the illusion.
Yep.
Yeah. Niz could have a swords in his hand, but it's not going to do anything with 2 Thalias on the battlefield. 1 mana is not going to save him here.
Yep.
Yeah, I really think he's just dead on board. Skyclave Apparition. There's the Jitte. Goodbye. Yeah, I think that's overkill, but
renegotiating all these little hate bears on the board.
yeah.
Got the one hate bear and then all the death and taxes shenanigans. So throwing down a protection looks like.
Is he just attacking with Batterskull?
Yeah, looks like it.
Interesting. Because I'm pretty sure he would have. I think he was dead on board there.
Maybe you didn't want to take his shields down too far, although I don't know what you're keeping your shields up for with one mana untapped there.
He ported his Caracas. Wait.
And
he bounced.
Yeah, it is bounced the Thalia.
I was like, wait a minute. What is he porting? Why after combat? It's the only downside with webcam magic. Although don't get me wrong, since I joined the server in January, yeah, I've played a lot of Legacy, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great thing to have, especially with how this year has gone. I haven't been around since January, but ever since I've showed up, I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. And thank you to all of you guys for hanging out with us. Yeah. So
thank you, everybody.
Hoffy's going to take that one down, go into the boards. Nizkulman in the Death and Taxes mirror. He's running 1 Ghost Quarter, 2 Deafening Silence, 1 Path to Exile, 1 Surgical, 1 Containment Priest, 1 Aethersworn Canonist, 2 Phyrexian Revokers, 1 Remorseful Cleric, 2 Rest in Peace, 1 Sanctum Prelate, 1 Skyclave Apparition, and 1 Sword of Light and Shadow. What is going through his mind right now?
I think what might be going through his mind is, I have less Skyclave Apparitions than my opponent. I think I need to bring him in and tie it up.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you.
It's a great thing. It hits all the targets. It could theoretically bring back an illusion token, but that's so much better to deal with than any of the other stuff that Death and Taxes is bringing to the mirror. The Sword of Light and Shadow is a great pickup because the protection from white could be very relevant.
Yep, I agree with that.
Sanctum Prelate, I would say that's a no. You could put on 1, but then you shut off your own stuff as well.
Yeah, I could definitely see Path to Exile coming in.
Yeah, Path is just that 1 extra piece of removal. Although Hoffy could bring in 2. Sorry to get ahead of myself before we've talked about his sideboard.
Right.
But yeah, just having any more removal against all these creatures that you know are going to be on the battlefield it's a good pickup as well.
Yeah. And I think being your opponent being on an Aether Vial deck, I don't think an Aethersworn Canonist is really something that I'm going to be going for. Just because it also gives them two spells they can cast, just like yourself. But I could definitely see a Revoker coming in.
Yeah, Revoker's a good pickup. You can name Stoneforge, name Aether Vial. It's a very flexible option.
Yep, and I could see Surgical also. I could see a world where Surgical would come in. Just being able to... No, probably not. Actually, I take that back. Just because everything that you're doing is pretty much exiling.
Yeah, unless you get something killed in combat, then you don't have a chance to surgical.
Right, which your only way of doing that is with a path deck or with a Aether Vial, because in a Death and Taxes deck, you're not going to be swinging.
Yeah, blind slamming creatures against each other.
So what does Hoffy got going here?
On the other side here, Hoffy looks like he's got a little bit similar, a little bit different. 2 copies of Deafening Silence, 2 Path Exile, as I mentioned earlier, 2 Surgical Extractions of his own, 2 copies of Rest in Peace, 2 Council's Judgment, 1 Sanctum Prelate, 1 Sword of Feast and Famine, unfortunately the wrong colors in this matchup, 1 Gideon Ally of Zendikar, he's fun, and 2 Mindbreak Traps, which probably won't get there in this case.
Probably not.
So on that side, the plan is pretty similar, right? We've got a couple of the same cards that we see in both sideboards that are good in the matchup, and then a couple of cards we see that just don't make as much sense. So
yeah, I think the paths are fantastic here. I actually think I would bring Council's Judgment and probably Gideon also.
Yeah, Council's Judgment is an interesting card, and Hoffy did provide us with a little link that shows which card arts he's using. So he's got the foil ones, the borderless foil, new Council Judgments. So he's
Gideon,
going all out.
Gideon, I'm kind of back and forth about. Maybe not. Usually Gideon is more of your control type deck, but Death and Taxes is a control type deck.
A little bit.
I could see that. Can you imagine Hoffy had Gideon last game? Other than Skyclave Apparitions, which Niz had already played both of his, Gideon would have run him down.
Yeah, and the only thing you have to be scared of is throwing down an exile, Path Exile or Swords, getting rid of that Gideon, and that just feels awful. But at the very least, you can just wait until they have to respond to something else, keep making 2/2 allies, and then at some point, okay, now you've got nothing left to do. Here comes the big 5/5 creature, and I can throw some equipment on him. I can get through, do a lot of stuff. So Gideon could be a good take in.
Yeah, I could. I guess there's a world I could see it. More than likely, we probably will not. But the good news is, no matter what happens, somebody with Death and Taxes is going to win.
True. I love to see it. Death and Taxes is going to win this match.
Right. Looks like they're both going to draw out their opening 7. Niz will be on the play from this one. And for you guys in chat, what would you be bringing in? Death and Taxes Mirror? It's game 2. It's go time. You got to win this, or you're not going to a game 3. What do you bring in?
Yep, check out that Cardboard live extension. See all these deck lists. Check out those sideboards.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Niz is going to keep 7. Hoffy, however, is going to pitch him back. Repull cheap with the follow. Thank you very much.
Welcome, welcome.
Oh, it looks like we got our new sub badges. For all of you guys that's sub to the channel, that is our brainstorm token, just like it is on our play mats up in the top, but it's just different colors for different lengths. Looks like Pope's going to keep the 6.
Yeah, whoever suggested those nice medals is pretty smart. This is a nice start. These are the starts you love to see on Death and Taxes.
Yeah, Aether Vial.
Love it.
Go. This is going to sculpt the future of this.
Here we go. Yes.
They both have it. This is it. Pedal to the metal. It's time to rock and roll.
Yeah, the back and forth between these two games. The first game is this grindy positioning, all this sort of micro plays, who gets the right draws, who gets the wrong draws. And then this one, we're going to throw down Aether Vials, we're going to trick each other. I'd love to see someone tap an Aether Vial in response to something and then just not vial anything in. Just get with the mind games.
Yeah.
You got to fight for it.
Yep, I totally agree. And it looks like this is going to pass it over. My favorite is turn 2, Aether Violin Mom.
Yes.
And that's going to be a Thalia right there.
So Pope's going to break the mirror here, throw down a Thalia. We'll see if we got any Ether Vials on the end step. Here it comes.
I bet it's Mom.
Yep, there she is.
There she is. Well, it's already set in stone. Niz is going to win this one now.
Yeah, last game it was the fight of who had the most moms.
Right. It's like a weird family tree. Who's got the most moms? There's a Caracas. Playing Thalia may or may not have been a mistake right here.
Yeah, Thalia not going to get in much at this point.
No, I agree. That's going to be a Stoneforge Mystic. Hoffy is in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, being on the draw, looking down almost the exact same hand as you had, it just kind of feels too slow sometimes. So you got to change it up, maybe do something that you didn't feel was optimal. And then, yeah, when you're falling behind like this already, having Stoneforge search for the Sword of Fire and Ice, that can get through a lot of stuff that they do.
Yeah, I agree there. This is especially with Niz having Caracas and Hoffy not.
Yeah.
So this means your Thalia is pretty much a dead draw, or a dead card in essence, but it will still forces your opponent to use one land if they want to keep it off the battlefield.
Right.
Niz is going to pass it over to Hoffy, it looks like. And that Vial's going to tick up. So both players with Vial on 2 right now, which is pretty much the sweet spot. Death and Taxes, well, I guess 3 is really the sweet spot where you want it, but
yeah, it depends on that game plan. 2 allows you to get out exactly what you need because a lot of the stuff you want to do, but 3, throws down the Skyclave Apparition or Surprise Flicker Wisp. A lot of fun stuff to do at either 2 or 3.
Yeah, and Step Recruiters. Not bouncing Thalia.
Just taking the 2.
Yeah, but you can't Path. Or you can't Swords.
One plan is if maybe on end step, throw it up into the hand so then Hoffy can't recast it.
Yeah, that could be. I guess that makes sense. But it's already tapped anyway. And I don't think Niz really had any... What did he have in his sideboard? Did he have any non-creature spells? No, not really.
So an activation with the Vial here. Yes, there it is. Activate the Vial. Give Hoffy a chance to respond. No responses. Okay, I will choose to put nothing in. It's all the mind games. I especially love the mind games when your opponent could theoretically interact with the Vial or interact with your hand or do all these things, and you're like, nah, we're good. I'll find something.
Looks like, did he leave his Vial on 2? Nope, he has bounced into 3. Okay.
Yep. Upkeep will settle in at 3, and I doubt it's ever going to tick up.
Yeah.
Nothing else there.
No, they don't. I don't think anybody's running Palace Jailer or anything like that. Sanctum Prelate is a 3 also. Yeah. So there's literally nothing in either deck that's at 4. So, and honestly, that was a really Skyclave Apparition coming in. Oh, there goes the Vial.
Hello.
Yep.
Response, we're going to throw down the swords. Hoffy, we got a second mana there.
Yeah, Hoffy needs to tap another land.
It's your own Thalia, man. There he goes.
Thalia attacks. So he's going to probably take Mom here. Although, yeah, we'd have to target Mom. Otherwise, this is... What is he untapping mana for?
So we've got swords targeting Stoneforge. He didn't have any mana. He was considering activating the Stoneforge in response here, it looks like.
I see.
So then we swords on the Stoneforge Mystic and maybe bring the shields down with the Mom. And this is all in response to the Apparition. It's still on the trigger.
Yeah. And this apparition is happening after the vial ticks to 3. Did he draw a card yet? I didn't see. So this would put Mom down through his turn and into Hoffy's turn.
I don't know. It might be apparition might be on the stack, or the trigger might be on the stack. So we'll see. We might not know what the apparition is targeting yet.
I think it's trigger on the stack right now.
Trigger on the stack.
Yeah. So he is going to protect this. He is going to protect the Stoneforge Mystic.
Yep.
Or not.
Back and forth. Yeah, these are those micro decisions in a mirror match. You know what your opponent's trying to do pretty much.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You know what you're trying to keep them from doing. So it's like a matchup of who's got the right stuff going on. Thinking, second time, maybe.
Well, if he protects the Stoneforge Mystic,
it's a lot of downtime.
There's a Sword of Fire and Ice coming into the battlefield, and he is going to be able to use it. However, he has no creatures to put it on if Mom is tapped.
All right, protection lands.
Stoneforge Mystic is how he's going to put that into the battlefield. So now he's going to respond and put in his own Stoneforge Mystic.
Yep, still in response to the Skyclave. We're going to go find something to search for.
Yep. Is he? Yeah. This basically is saying, hey, take my Stoneforge, don't take my Aether Vial.
Please take the Stoneforge.
Yeah.
I think that attempt might be in vain, though. Both go get the same sword, but you see Hoffy missed a land drop. That vial is pretty key at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree. Niz is way ahead on mana. His vial is not being threatened right now. Hoffy could very easily have an apparition in his hand or a Council's Judgment. Council's Judgment isn't going to do it, and he is going to take the vial. So,
yeah.
If Hoffy does have a land and an apparition in his hand, which would be weird that he didn't play a third land. However, this would be a way for him to, now Mom is tapped. Now I can take what I want. I can take your vial.
Yeah, and that could be key too, because then the tables are pretty close to similar. First strike helps you get through. The protection on the other side is still scary, as Hoffy noticed in the first game, although he had a lot of multiples. But resetting both Aether Vials and getting rid of both of those. Ooh, Charming Prince.
No. Charming Prince.
That's trouble on your own Skyclave, probably.
Yeah.
Flicker it. Yeah, sure, you can have a 1/1. We'll get rid of something else.
Yeah.
Yep, chooses Blink. Comes back. What's the target here?
Wow. Yep, there goes Stoneforge. Just systematically picking Hoffy apart here.
Yep.
And he is going to pass it back.
At this point, when all you're doing is throwing down creatures and you've got a Crocus, anything that Thalia tries to do, you've got enough mana to cast one of your spells if you need it. You've got the Crocus if you want to get rid of the Thalia.
And there's Wasteland, so...
Yeah, so you might have to do it now-ish.
Yeah, that's going to take Crocus, which means he's going to respond and bounce Thalia, but he can replay it, at least.
Yep, so here also he could throw down the Stoneforge, he could Crocus in response. For some reason, if he wanted to, he could Swords in response and get rid of the Illusion token, or the Thalia.
Or Thalia. That just gets rid of her for good. Yeah, he could actually... Or just let it go.
Resolves, looks like.
Yeah. And there goes Mom.
Swords on the tap, Mom. Yeah, so it's great to bring his shields down, and then you've got them both. Now the protection is gone, at least, and it's slightly moving back to the same on both sides, although that Aether Vial is very, very helpful.
Yeah. Thalia's going to attack in. Nothing that can really block her advantageously, for sure.
Going down to 17 here, it looks like.
Yeah. because he went up to 19 because of the mom. Leaves violin 3. Funny.
Maybe we get some 3-sided dice for our Death and Taxes players for Vile. It's ready to go. 1, 2, 3. So swords coming in off of the Stoneforge. Pay that equip cost. Thinking about who to put it on. Charming Prince is a decent choice. You don't want to make that apparition any more of an appetizing target.
Right. Yeah, it looks like he's going to attack back here.
And, the sword has pro blue. So that little blue illusion there, Skyclave apparition makes XX blue illusion creature tokens. So
yep.
Good for nothing right now.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's one of those things you really don't think about.
And it is nice, at least, that we have the right colors of tokens, so you can tell what exactly's got protection from what. But yeah, at that point, it looks like that's a lot of things on the board still for Niz, and Hoffy's had enough.
Yeah, it looks like Hoffy is going to scoop it up. So we're going to go to game 3. Sideboard-wise, Hoffy, we did not see any of his sideboard cards. So we don't know what he boarded in there. Same with Niz. He could have brought in an extra Skyclave apparition, but I don't think we saw anything else, did we?
Doesn't look like it.
No. And actually, he did not go get Sword of Light and Shadow, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think most likely they're better Death and Taxes players than I, and saw that Sword of Fire and Ice plus Skyclave apparition is just beautiful. Get rid of whatever you want, and then, hey, this small little token is even more useless than before.
Right. Absolutely, because you can't leave it up as a chump blocker. So, and thank you to all of you guys for hanging out with us. We are the MTGPL. We are a Magic the Gathering Paper Legacy Discord. We are a little over 1,500 members strong. This is our Tuesday Legacy Fight Night. We do these every week. Sometimes they're themed, sometimes they're moderators. Sometimes it's players where this is a mixture of both. Popoffy is one of our moderators. And we also have a weekly challenge. Weekly challenges happen on Saturday. That's basically a Swiss style tournament that we run. We also have monthly leagues. The monthly league for October is running right now. There's, I think, almost a little over one more week left to play. Am I right? No, a little under one more week. Yeah, for play. And then those all lead up to the semifinals or quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals for the leagues. And then everything leads up to a big invitational that we have, which will be once a quarter. So our invitational will be coming up soon. But a ! Discord in the chat will get you an invite, a personal invite from us to you. So you can come and hang out with us and play Paper Legacy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can cast Thalias in your sleep. You can cast Thalias at 3 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter. We'd love to have you. So it looks like they are done boarding.
Yeah. Plenty of options. So Pope is on the play here. They're already getting set for their mulligans. He's going back to 6 for the second game in a row, unfortunately. Hopefully on the play, though, he'll find better action. And if they start the same way as the last time, then yeah, possibly they can Hoppy can get off on the right foot with that Vile on turn 1.
Right. Looks like Niz is going to keep 7. Hoffy looking at his fresh 7. What do you want to see in your hand here? Looks like he. Oh, I'm sorry. He mulliganed in 6, didn't he?
Yep, he's going to keep his 6.
That's perfect. Hoffy's going to be on the play also.
If I'm either player, I want to see Vile and I want to see Mom. Those are the turn 1 plays, especially in this matchup. Either one of them, we've seen the strength of both in 2 separate matches. Game 1 with 3 mothers on Hoffy's side, and then Game 2, both players with the Vile, and the first player to get their Vile removed. Just ended up being game over at that point. You just saw that the incremental value was just way past.
Yeah, that's got it. That's really where it all starts crumbling. The fact that your opponent can double spell and you cannot.
Right. So Niz is going to start with a Wasteland here. Not as many targets as he'd like, but we'll see what's in the rest of his hand here.
That's actually a really, really odd lead with no other follow-up.
Yeah, usually it's Wasteland into Vile because you got that colorless mana, but wonder what else is here.
Will this be a Stoneforge? It is.
That's a great 1-2 punch.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's gonna build Hoffy a nice little board state. That if you're Nez, I'm assuming he's got to have a 2-mana play follow up here, probably a Thalia maybe, or I'm not really sure what he would have. Probably his own Stoneforge Mystic, but
right.
He can't have a Mother of Runes, otherwise he would have opened with the Plains.
Possibly Revoker in the side, bringing it in because you know your opponent's going to try and go for the activated abilities. They're on the play. On the draw, you just landed on turn 2, and then they haven't had a chance to activate yet.
All right, that definitely could be.
Although what would have been scary is if Hoffy said, okay, I'll use 1 mana, Wasteland, and then Wasteland the Wasteland. And now you're both a turn behind, except he's already got a board presence.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually kind of agree with that. That would have been pretty brutal. That's the ultimate Death in Texas sacrifice. And he's going to Wasteland his Wasteland.
He's going to do it himself. Wow. So he's down to nothing on the board. First turn was a Wasteland. What was he scared of seeing on that turn 1? Was he going to try and hit a Wasteland, try and hit a Crocus?
Please tell me he's got a land. Okay. I was going to say.
This is not one of those games.
Wow, yeah. So yeah. I wonder if he's got a... no, I wouldn't even think he's got... I would assume he's got a Swords. There's a Phyrexian Revoker. What is Revoker going to name? What do you name here? You name Aether Vial?
Oh, Hoffy's got Revoker in his main. I was looking at the board and going, where did that come from? Yeah, he's got his 1 copy in the main.
And he does name Vial. I also run him in the main too. Actually, I'm still on the way too many Revokers than you should probably have.
It's just so fun.
I run 3.
Stopping stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Revokers just... I'm like a little kid in a candy shop when it comes to Revokers and Pithing Needles and everything else.
Yeah, those are great. So you will preemptively name that Aether Vial there, which, with the way your opponent's lands are coming down, thank you, I just got a mail. That's exciting.
It probably is a really good idea. Another thing to think about also, if your opponent does not have an Aether Vial in their hand, would it have made more sense to name Stoneforge Mystic?
Right, because they went with a Wasteland and Go. So you're probably thinking they don't have it, or they really, really cared about Wastelanding your stuff, which probably is less likely. So yeah, it could be name the thing you think is going to happen, or name the thing that you think is the most dangerous to you. Right. Either one is a decent decision.
And this is going to play a port, which has got to feel terrible playing it into a Wasteland.
Yeah.
And this is going to be his turn. This is going to be his 2-mana play, which is probably a Stoneforge Mystic. I can't imagine him having anything else that would really make... Oh, his own Revoker.
Yeah, got the Revoker.
Yeah. And is he going to name Stoneforge?
Well, he's already got 1 equipment in hand, so
yeah,
decent choice. Mom's also pretty rough sometimes. Wasteland, yeah. You do like your second land, but that might not be the goal.
I actually think I would not save it there. He did name Stoneforge Mystic.
Yep.
Yeah, good call. I think I probably would have named the same thing. If your opponent does land that equipment, this game snowballs way out of control.
Definitely. Yeah, especially because whatever you named would just go away once the Sword of Fire and Ice comes down and then shocks the Phyrexian Revoker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Jite, hello. Just have them both.
Yeah. Or he could just hardcast Jite. So right now, I think you're kind of in a bad spot.
Definitely.
Yeah. Stoneforge Mystic's going to attack in. Might as well.
Sure. Yeah, definitely not going to block the Revoker and open up the Stoneforge.
Right? Yeah. Although he had already used his mana to put his Jite into play anyway, but
yeah.
And I'm pretty well now that he's got another planes. I don't feel so bad. The port, because I was pretty sure he was going to end up losing that port too.
Yeah, at least it gets a couple turns worth of mana out of it.
Yeah, here comes the Skyclave apparition.
Coming in.
Hoffy immediately grabs his Jite.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, he knows. Yep, you can. Yeah, Hoffy can take a turn off and actually play. If he's got another land, he can play that sword, but I don't know if I'd really do that.
What are the odds he has a second Skyclave apparition?
Right.
Recruiter.
I'm sure Hoffy's going to go get his own apparition.
Yep, so you can play that game, and since he's got a Mom for protection already, that's the other next one that you'd really like because of how powerful it was in game one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, in this case, you've already got the one. Both are fighting back and forth. Not going to really be throwing multiple removals and trying to get rid of stuff. So, yeah, Skyclave can do it pretty well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's pretty great to see how good Skyclave Apparition really is.
Right.
This is 2 decks using Skyclave Apparition to pretty much its fullest extent that I can think of. A mono white decks with Aether Vial, with Recruiter of the Guard. And this has been really
shenanigans too. Yeah.
Yeah, and Charming Prince. Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was looking at the when the spoilers for the set originally came out, and people were like, "Oh, the humdrum cards for Death and Taxes. You always get like the bone they throw you, and then it's just not good enough." People were thinking that about Archon of Emeria, which is the rule of law and the tapped thing. It comes into play tapped. So
both of them together.
Yep, and they were looking for it with Skyclave Apparition as well, and going, "Is it? Can we? Should we?" But it's shown it's in force now. People are I'd essentially say it's not even a flex spot anymore for Death and Taxes. It just does everything you want it to, especially in Legacy. It hits all the things.
I totally agree. And there's the other one too. What's the other one called?
Yes, the beating bear, whatever.
Yeah, I make all of your creatures get bigger. Is it Skyclave something? No, it's not. Yeah, it is. Skyclave something.
We were just talking about it earlier with someone. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, the 2-mana 1/1 puts a counter every combat. Sometimes the problem with Death and Taxes is you'll get so close, you'll just run out of taxes, and then the death won't show up. So if you throw a couple 1/1 counters on, the math just goes off the rails. You can get there just fast enough before they get through your taxes.
And I'm a huge fan of Sarah Avenger.
Sarah Avenger's fun.
Luminarch Aspirant, that's what it is.
There it is, Luminarch Aspirant.
Yeah, thank you, McDiff. Yeah, Luminarch Aspirant is, I think Luminarch Aspirant with Sarah Avenger would be pretty sweet.
Cool. So it looked like we got port number 1 on the plains, port number 2 on the wasteland. In response, wasteland the port.
And he's going to attack in with his Revoker.
Yep, I think Coffee sees that the Ether Vial is slowly losing its appeal. The longer you get in the game, the less you want to draw it. But 2 damage is much better than stopping whatever few cards he's got left in hand after playing an Aether Vial and drawing an Aether Vial.
Yeah, and at the same time too, if he does block with the Skyclave Apparition,
That's
you
a
get
great
your yeah, absolutely. Either one is pretty advantageous for them to lose or for you to take.
It replaces itself, or you get back your Stoneforge.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, more port action. Just pass the turn with your 2 blockers that you don't really want to block with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Port down, port down.
He does get another land though.
Yep, does still have white mana, exactly.
Again with a Revoker. The big bad Revoker beats. It's a 10-turn clock. It's gonna get there. That little Phyrexian smile is gonna get there.
For the longest time, I never understood that art, and then I was like, "Oh, that's like a giant creepy mouth." Cool.
Right. You actually have to like, you look at it and look at it and look at it, and you never really look at it. As soon as you put it down and you actually look at it, you're like, "What in the world have I been playing with this whole time?
This thing
Who would do this?"
Nightmares.
Niz in the tank.
This is a rough position to be in. The port game is good, but when you're behind on board, it's not as good.
Yeah, that's one of the most difficult parts to Death and Taxes is you can port and goblins, for instance, all the same thing. You can be in that position where you port them down. And you port them down, and there are even certain turns where you have to make that micro decision. Do I port here, or do I wait? And do I take them off their 2-drop, or do I take them off their 3-drop? But when do you stop doing that, and when do you switch to it's time to go now?
Yeah, at some point you've got to make that transition, and it's especially difficult in a mirror match because when you're playing against someone else doing something else, you can tell when they're going to turn the corner. But in this case, there's just so many interlocking pieces between both of the decks that are just interlocking with each other at this point.
Right. No, I completely agree.
5 mana up here, you can play one of his pretty big 3-drops and then still have another port, but then your opponent still has 3 lands and they can play one of their big 3-drops. So
yeah,
it's trouble either way.
What he really needs a Stoneforge Mystic or something to get down so he can get some equipment.
Yep. So Recruiter, grab Stoneforge maybe? Is that a good target?
He's going to port in response. Good call.
Because then once you have grabbed the creature, it's in your hand, and now you've got priority again. So you would have been able to use that mana right away.
Correct.
So
although he can still
float.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yep, float.
Yeah, he did float.
So.
I was going to say, you definitely want to float in response. There's no phase changing or whatnot. So
yeah,
and he is just going to go ahead and play that Stoneforge Mystic and shortcut to getting an equipment.
Get that search. What do you think he's going to pull here?
I actually think he'll get a Jitte.
Ooh, there's the light. Yeah, light and
so
shadow.
He did bring it in. So that is the right decision. However, a Revoker can still block.
Yep. That big text with the protection from white and black can't get through the Revoker, unfortunately, but that secondary text, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you gain 3 life and may return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So this might get grindy.
And that's an interesting thing, too, with Mom, because Hoffy's got Mom.
Yep.
Niz does not. So it'd be a pro-white creature. You can't give your creature pro-white with your Mom and then try to block. So Skyclave Apparition is going to leave the battlefield, which means Hoffy is going to get an illusion.
And this might make the sword choice so much more difficult now that he's got a blue creature. So did you really want the Sword of Fire and Ice?
Yep, I completely agree. I wonder if he boarded out equipment for that one.
Possibly, yeah.
And that was a Jitte, so that's a 2/2. Hoffy's gonna cast an apparition, maybe. Maybe. Nope. That is a council's judgment. No, that's an apparition. That's the full one.
That's the apparition. All these new full arts and everything.
Yeah.
So gets that Stoneforge there.
It looks similar to council's judgment. Come on now. There's just one spirit instead of 3.
That Revoker is still coming in.
Yeah, it's still gonna, that apparition is still gonna do the same thing anyway.
Definitely.
Mr. Jack Dax is our streamer tonight. He's giving me crap for being old. Oh, and blind. Oh, and old.
Everything.
All of it.
Yeah.
That Revoker is gonna get there, I'm telling you.
It's a great clock.
I'm telling you. It is. I think
better sword on the other Revoker instead of the Stoneforge. He did just tutor with the Stoneforge, and your opponent's Revoker is on your Stoneforge. You're a little bit ahead. You could possibly play that equipment on your own anyways, because I believe Hoffy tutored up the Sword of Fire and Ice a long time ago. That was turn 2.
Yeah, I think he
still got that in hand.
Yeah. He looks like he's going to port him here. He's going to double port him. And there's not a Thalia down either, is there? Or is that a Thalia all the way? No, there's no Thalia down.
Not yet.
Not yet. So this means their 1-mana removal is still live.
Speaking of 1-mana removal.
Goodbye, Mom.
Yep, get rid of that before anything can happen. Back up to 13.
Yeah.
I think it's now an 11. It's a 12-turn clock because of the life gain, but at this rate, you're just still getting there, still beating in.
And he's actually going to start getting frisky here with both. So that's going to put him down to 9. Niz needs to make a play, and he needs to make this happen. He's losing the value game here.
Yeah.
His board state has been dwarfed. Porting is not going to save him anymore. He needs more now.
So theoretically, he's got enough to just go for the Sword of Light and Shadow, equip it, come in, gain 3 life. Doesn't really have a creature to return because they're all in exile. That sort of thing. So all the white blockers he can get through, but then again, it's still a race. And Hoffy's got more creatures than you.
Well, and as soon as you attack, and let's say he does play the sword, he does equip it, he does put it on Revoker, let's say, he's going to get 1 attack because the crackback's going to hurt a lot. And the fact that all Hoffy has to do is leave up a Revoker or a Spirit or that illusion, and he's got a blocker then.
Right, he comes in big, and Hoffy's like, sure, I've got enough life.
Yeah.
Swing back on the crackback, and then maybe we leave 1 blocker, and then you're not going to get hit that second time.
Right. There's a second Revoker. It's probably going to name Stoneforge Mystic. Just kidding.
Yep, name's Mom, so he's got both of those activated abilities covered.
Yep.
Hoffy did not respond while it was on the stack. He can't respond to the naming, but while the Revoker was on the stack, so he's fine with that for now, I guess.
And there's a Flicker Wisp. So that's going to allow him to blink his Recruiter, go get another Apparition. So Hoffy, the table's turned just like that.
Yeah, we're getting close to permanent parity here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now that Mom is offline, you lose that advantage. Niz has got a flyer now. I still think Hoffy's going to push with the Revoker and the Illusion, though. So you've got at least 1 turn now where you're going to have to take the damage. Yeah, you can't tutor for that, bud.
Wrong tutor target. Yeah, that's a recruiter, not a Stoneforge.
Although that'd be really sweet if recruiter
That'd
could
be
also go get a
beautiful.
land or go get. There you go. Good call. If recruiter could go get your Jitte as well.
Yeah. Imagine a world in which they forget to print creature card and they just say a card with toughness 2 or less. Yeah, sure, I'll grab whatever I want.
Right. Imperial recruiter. Go get a card. Thank you. God, that'd be amazing. Just demonic tutor attached to a 3-drop white creature.
Wonderful.
Put it in your hand. No downside. You paid 3 mana. That's plenty.
Yeah. That's fair, right? Black gets it at 2, we get it at 3 and have a 1/1 attached? Sure.
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely. There's no. And there goes Hoffy. He is going to push on those two creatures. I would also do the same thing. I want to put you down as low as I can because then all I have to do is get one big attack and take you down. Because Flicker Wisp is going to start doing some damage here. So Niz, no blocks. He's going to go down to 5. Yeah, I agree with Mike and Chaff or Mike in chat. That sounds like a card that would definitely be printed.
That's 2020 Magic, although it is a white card, so
that's true.
Possibly not.
It's probably, if it's with it being a white card, it'd be a 10-drop.
Yeah.
And when it enters the battlefield, you would have to sacrifice another creature.
And then you can tutor.
Yeah.
Only then are you allowed to have nice things. Although we jest, but Skyclave Apparition is a beautiful white card. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I do agree. That was a nice gift. Thank you. They gave us a bone.
Yeah.
If it was blue-green, it would cost no mana. You would draw whatever you want out of your deck. You would also get to put an extra land into play. You would gain 10 life. Because why not, right? Plus, you'd get a death. It would sacrifice itself, so you'd get a death trigger also if you needed it. It would exile your opponent's graveyard when it hit your graveyard. Man, they should print that. Why? Where's that card?
Put all the text on there. Lots of thinking here. Niz is playing from behind, so there's so many choices to make. Hoffy on his turn just threw down a vial and passed after that attack, so...
Yeah. Well, and that frees up some of your mana. Granted, this game's probably going to go 3-4 more turns, I would think, depending on where this goes here. Because this Skyclave Apparition is going to deal some damage here.
Yeah.
It's going to come in. It's going to take... It's not going to take the vial. I just wouldn't think so anyway. Does it take the other Skyclave Apparition?
Yeah, what spirit does that give you? That gives you a 1/1 maybe? What did I hit? Mom last time?
I think it did hit Mom. Or did it hit Stoneforge? He takes Mom. Interesting.
Is he scared for the safety of that Phyrexian Revoker that he has right now? Because he's got one that's turning off the Mom, but if he wants to come in with that and attack maybe, that frees up something. It makes a smaller spirit when Skyclave Apparition goes away.
Right. Charming Prince here, probably. Maybe.
Off the edge of the camera.
Yeah, I can't see.
It's a 2/2. It's 2/1.
Yeah, that's...
I've got my player cameras a little bit small on my monitor, so...
Yeah, same here. No, it's Charming Prince. He's blinking.
Yeah, so that tells you for it.
Yep. So now he goes and gets Flicker Wisp. Or does he get another apparition?
Seems like we've been a lot of questions about some good choices, what they can, let's throw down some things, and then it always seems to be Skyclave Apparition.
I would get
a good pick,
Wisp
but
a heartbeat.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This time, Flicker Wisp is the consideration, and then the take.
Yeah. Before Skyclave Apparition was a thing, back in my day, Flicker Wisp was was almost always what you went and got. Flicker Wisp is your answer to everything. It's like Kool-Aid and peanut butter and jelly. It's like purple drink.
Yeah.
Flicker Wisp is the purple drink of Legacy. So this is round 2 and game 3 of the Death and Taxes Mirror, and we are the MTGPL. We are a Magic MTG Paper Legacy Discord. We're a little over 1,500 members strong. We cast Swords of Fire and Ice, just like Coffee did, at all hours of the night, 24 hours a day. This is our Tuesday Legacy Fight Night. My name is Beyond Sadistic, and Lone Digger's up above me, just like Brady Bunch style, sitting in front of that amazing brainstorm.
Love it. Yeah. I'm so glad it worked out like it did. We were trying to get my face right about the same size, same height, so the lightning could come out, but nah. It's as good as the background. Good enough. So we got Skyclave coming in here. Hitting hard.
Yeah.
So we got to make some choices here.
Yep.
We got blockers, no mom to force it through. So, yeah. I mean, without the trigger, no, with the trigger, it's coming in for lethal.
Is he going to block with both of them?
With all 3 creatures coming in, he's got to do something here.
Yeah, I'm assuming he will block this Skyclave apparition. Because you want to put something in front of that.
Definitely. Because if you don't, that's lethal. So the apparition has to be there because you hit for 4 and then get the shock off the Sword of Fire and Ice.
Yeah, and you got his mom already, so you could absolutely lose that.
Right.
Revoker. And it looks like he's going to double block.
Double block and take 4 puts you to 1.
And it looks like he's going to grab Opie Taylor, Charming Prince, for that Andy Griffith Show reference. Yeah, he's going to triple block. So Stoneforge, Revoker on Illusion, Mom, Revoker, and Apparition on Apparition, Charming Prince on Illusion. So he blocked enough to take the Apparition and the sword out. And then on the Apparition to be able to get us an Illusion. So Niz has got a 2/2 Illusion. There is 1 Revoker left, naming Stoneforge Mystic. Oh no, that just ate the dust.
So Pope gets a 1/1 off of Niz's Apparition dying, and Niz gets his 2/2 token off of Pope's Apparition dying.
So
the Revokers are gone. Niz stays at 5 life, which is slightly less scary.
Yeah, but at the same time too, Pope's just gonna Hoffy's literally gonna re-equip and just do the same thing again.
Come right back in, yep.
Yeah, absolutely. This is gonna be a common occurrence here. And with Flicker Wisp up, you at least have a bigger creature able to block, but you're gonna lose your and there's an apparition in response. Take the Sword of Fire and Ice, bud. Do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a stat pick.
Now you're in a better spot. However, your Flicker Wisp is now your weapon. There are many like it. However, this one is mine.
He's keeping it primed and ready. It hasn't come in for 3 either the past 2 turns, so keeping it safe.
That Aether Vial's been out there. Is this Aether Vial to 2 or 3 now? Has it been 2 or 3 turns? That last turn was pretty long.
That was. Looks like Aether Vial is up at 2. Ooh, and there comes in the path. Pope's Hoffy's gonna steal an illusion here again.
Yeah.
We'll give him a little bit of life for Niz to have some more breathing room.
Mm-hmm. I will say that is kind of a hell of a downside that apparition is on Leaves battlefield, not when dies.
Right.
Especially in Legacy with so much exile effect.
Definitely.
It's usually your saving grace is that when the creature dies, so be it dies. I get the trigger. But I mean, it triggers off anything. So he's going to put the Sword of Light and Shadow in. He's going to equip it to Flicker Wisp. And he's going to attack and gain some life, it looks like.
Yep, now is the time. Getting that little extra life off of swords. He feels pretty safe to start swinging now.
Yeah, it's going to gain him
gain
5.
3.
Or
oh, yeah, it doesn't feel like he just gains 3.
Yeah, it just gains 3.
And he gets those creatures. Oh, we got actual creatures that died in combat. So another Skyclave Apparition coming back in. That's going to be around next turn. He's got a little bit of a life buffer here.
So that Light and Shadow actually doing some work. That's pretty interesting. I do like Light and Shadow. I've always been a huge fan of that. I know we're getting close to game time here, though. This has been a really long game 3. I appreciate all you guys hanging out with us.
Yeah, if I had to pick a match to take a long time, it'd be a Death and Taxes Mirror, because there's just so much going on. Every single decision matters so much because they're both playing the same lame little piddly white creatures, but they just have so much impact in this matchup.
And he's going to swing all out. He's going to say, let's just do this, yeah.
Yeah, make you throw the blocks down. I'm ahead. I believe I can stay ahead, so throw some blocks down.
He's got to have a way to deal with Flicker Wisp in his hand. Otherwise, I don't think he'd be so quick to do it.
Right.
The only reason being it takes him off any creature that he can actually yeah, but he must actually, maybe he doesn't, because Flicker Wisp has got pro white, so
oh goodness gracious.
Yep, and that's gonna deal some damage. Holy crap.
2 swords coming in for 7 with 2 triggers. He's gonna gain 3 and deal 2.
Yep. So that's gonna put him up to 13.
So last turn there, Niz made the correct blocks, it looks like. Didn't lose too much of his board state. Still got one more blocker just in case, but he's starting to move ahead at this point with 2 swords on a Flicker Wisp.
Yeah, Pope's at 8 now. Or 6. He dealt the 2 damage there. He just... Oh, he was looking through his graveyard. He's probably got no other creatures. Everything else has been exiled.
And the double swords is going to do it. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Holy crap. Well, that was a long one. I appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. Death and Taxes Mirrors. That's like reading War and Peace. But
yeah, that was a great back and forth. Thanks for staying around for all of that. And it finally comes to it. Niz puts 2 swords on a little flying creature and slams in.
All right. So we're the MTGPL Beyond Sadistic Lone Digger. We'll be right back with round number 3.